Hot August Nights has produced some very iconic and visually amazing event posters over the years. Each year features a classic or custom hot rod. For example, the very first Hot August Nights poster in 1986 features James Dean's 49 Mercury that was on loan from the Harrah's Automobile Collection in Reno, Nevada. Today we'll be looking back at the second year poster in 1980 and we'll be diving into the details as we interview Jennifer Rae, the featured model of this year's poster. Willie Davison, the president of Hot August Nights in 1987, describes the released to the public poster as the 1956 Chevy Bel Air ragtop, and the unreleased second poster was reshot with the same waitress serving James Dean look-alike and Jennifer Rae, but in this version sitting on a 1956 Thunderbird. Today we're sitting with Jennifer Rae. She was part of the second year Hot August Nights poster, and she's been so kind to let us do a quick interview with her and learn and discover more about the posters. So thanks for joining us today, Jennifer.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Can you tell us, during your experience with this poster shoot, can you give us some of the background or a little bit of that back photo shoot scene and what was going on that time?
So I was very lucky to have somebody who felt that I was good enough to be on a poster. I was not yet 17, so I was still 16 years old. Showed up at I want to say it was almost like a warehouse, because they did need to bring the car in, and they built everything around it. So they had the lighting, they had backdrops, things so that when the lights hit the car, it looked shiny and beautiful. The person who owned the car was there, shining, buffing. We were secondary. The car is what was most important. Just want everybody to know that. Yes, people add to it, but again, it's a car show. It's about the car.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never really thought about it in that way.
So even like when you would get into the car, please don't touch the vinyl. Please don't touch this. Make sure so for all of us as, I'm using the term model very loosely. Mm-hmm. We were the people in the photo shoot, but for lack of, I'm just going to call us the models. Right. But this again is not high fashion.
Sure. But you were like more of the prop side clothing, right? You had the
we had 50s. To have yes, we had to have the 50. That was an amazing thing as well. We did not go ahead of time. This literally happened in one night. So the person doing the costumes, yes, the man in the car was asked, "Do you have a leather jacket?" Well, the person who did the costumes though brought tons of stuff. So at one point I'm in a long sleeve sweater. In the next they're like, no, let's go with this short pink poodle skirt. We're going to use this felt. We're going to wrap it around you 15 times. They're not really going to see it. But if they do, this is how you would move. So we had everything that we needed, but it was brought to the shoot that night.
So that basically, the impact of the overall scene, it was that extra little bit of presence of the models, as you said.
Yes.
So you said you were 17 when you were doing the photo shoot.
Almost
17. So what did your friends, when they saw the poster and they saw you in it, what did your friends have to say about it?
Oh my gosh, that's not you. I'm like, it's me. My name is on the poster. And they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, oh my goodness, yes. So some of my friends were really excited. Again, Hot August Nights at that time was just kind of building. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people didn't understand, and how were we to know that many years ago what it would grow to, what it would become. So it was a job. Yes, it was something that was exciting at the time. But most people, they just weren't. They were like, that's cool, but none of my friends were. And again, it's about the car.
Right.
It was all about the car.
And so what... You said, during this time, though, you were younger. So did this hold any significance for you, being on the Hot August Nights poster, for your professionally, or your impacts of that photo shoot?
I think I definitely learned from that. You always need to be professional. It doesn't matter who your parent is. It doesn't matter who you know.
Right.
You're around a lot of people. And for me, I always hoped it would turn into other jobs.
Sure.
My background is in theater.
Right.
So for me, film, theater, all of these different things, you need to be aware. I think it's more of a novelty now.
Right.
It's fun if somebody brings it up to kind of in passing go, yeah, I was on the second year poster. And they usually just look at you like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I was so young, it didn't really, you know, I don't, and based on the way the picture is, you couldn't tell unless you knew me.
Right, right.
Or unless I tell you.
So I briefly mentioned this during the intro that there was more than one poster.
Yes.
So that was another thing of its significance, that the people don't realize that there was 2 posters presented, there was 2 posters printed, and there was a certain amount of each. What else can you tell me about that?
I know that at the time, I really didn't know everything about what decisions they were going to make. It came down to sponsorship.
Right.
So they brought in this car, this, and another car. They were hoping to get sponsorship from one of those dealers or car clubs or car people. When it didn't happen, but they wanted to be prepared because it had to go into production.
Sure.
So they made the posters in hopes that both or one would come on board.
Sure.
And I know that with both, one is more scarce than the other.
Right, right. And so do you still currently have any of these posters?
I do.
Cool.
I do. I have a framed one. I have a couple of course, back in the day, you laminated everything.
Sure.
So I have a couple of laminated posters.
Very cool. You had brought up who your family is. Can you tell the audience who your father is?
My dad was the founder of Hot August Nights. Mm-hmm. And I guess there's always been nepotism. Mm-hmm. And it actually, though, I didn't ask. My father asked me. My
Very
dad
cool.
said, I want you to do this. I kind of even at the time was like, well, this is kind of cheesy because I don't like cars. So I did it, though, because he's like, oh, no, you're going to do this. And I mean that in a very loving way. I still wanted, he knew I wanted to be an actor. He knew I wanted to be in movies and whatnot. So it was still a fantastic opportunity.
Now, how do you feel about the popularity, even after 30 years? How do you feel about the popularity of these posters? Because there's a lot of collectors out there.
That is absolutely true. I know that the first year poster, because again, it's the first year, can go for crazy amounts of money depending on condition. Mm-hmm. Second year poster, some of the funniest things to me, and maybe it's not funny, people, if you don't know the history, will argue with you, even though you were there and say, no, there's not, there's only that one poster. And you're like, well, I can show you the other. So I know that collectors are always out there looking for those posters, especially the first 2 to 3 years.
And just for our audience, because you did bring it up the first year, the collectability with the first year poster for Hot August Nights was 1986. It had the James Dean 49 Mercury.
Correct.
And it was a very, very sought after vehicle, but also because it was James Dean's in the movie Rebel Without a Cause, I think that also stirred a lot of collectability. James Dean, the movies, Rebel Without a Cause and such. So.
Absolutely.
And
it's a first year event that continued. So if you're a collector, you want to know you have a collection of all for every year you've ever gone or every year you have participated in. Yeah. And at the time, it was almost like a giveaway. So why am I going to keep this poster if I don't even know whether the event will be successful? So a lot of people, you know, like anything, oh, I hung it in my garage, it got ruined, or my kid crumpled it. It wasn't something at the time anybody thought would have real value.
Right.
It was cool,
but
it was, you know, they were handing them out.
Yeah.
Or it was $5 at the, you know, at the merch booth before we really had merchandise booths.
Right. Well, I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
I think it's great to hear the history. I think it's great for our audience and listeners to see the history behind Hot August Nights, the first year and the second year, along with the posters. And I'm going to follow up. We'll take a little break We're going to follow up and continue talking with Jennifer Rae in a different poster in a different area where your expertise is, which is theater, and talk to you about your movie role and the poster for that as well. So
Thank you.
You'll see the you'll hopefully see the link below, and also if you like what we're doing here, please subscribe.